Like fools, we clung to the old hatreds.
Hell, it's about time.
You pray that you have become strong enough to contain the demon and keep him at bay.
Geek is crushing your enemies, seeing them driven before you, and hearing the lamentations of the women.
How do you hand something from one player to another?
Bring up your inventory screen. Control I.
Are you prepared to go all the way with these, Alexei?
Oh, I think he actually left us with that. Did you leave us with that? Does it go to us?
We are totally on camera now, Jeffrey.
The world could always use more heroes.
Alright, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leeroy Jenkins!
Well, you're in rough shape. Try drinking at a fountain.
Look like you've seen a ghost.
Nicely done.
The flame is gigantic, and that is that GG.
That was awesome!
On February 8th of 1991, 3 graduates from University of California in Los Angeles, Mike Morheim, Frank Pierce, and Alan Adam, decided they wanted to make video games. So, they founded the company Silicon and Synapse. Originally mostly a studio used for ports from other studios, it soon made their own games back in 1993 with titles like Rock'n'Roll Racing and the criminally underrated Lost Vikings. Then in '94 they changed the name to Chaos Studios Incorporated. Then they changed the name again to Blizzard Entertainment because, I don't know, maybe it was a snowstorm outside that day. Look, I don't know how you have it in California, you do the guessing. Shortly thereafter, under their new studio name, they released Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. This was the start of something big. Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, the Diablo series, Starcraft, the Brood War, an esports scene they couldn't even dream of. World of Warcraft takes over the world. Starcraft 2, Diablo 3, Hearthstone, Overwatch, and their very own MOBA. They were on top of the world and they were raking that dosh. And they also made some good games. So, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, Alex, what's up with that?
Thanks for pointing that out. We're gonna get that fixed.
Thank you.
Bet.
In 2008, Blizzard got merged with Activision. Activision, of course, being the famous company for making the obscure shooter Call of Duty. Now, some people saw this as a warning sign because most of the people at Activision were like,
We've got to have money.
and who could have blamed them? 2012. It's been a hot minute since the last Diablo game released. But the loyal fans will soon be rewarded with the release of Diablo 3, a complete revamp for the new generation of gamers. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be awesome, Oh boy.
Error 37! Why the fuck is it 37? What the fuck are the other 36? Shouldn't this be error number 1? Error number 1, I can't log the fuck in!
Things calmed down a little when they finally could log into the game. But that will soon turn when they found out about the new feature that was installed in this, the auction house. For you see, back in Diablo 2 there was a problem with botters and selling items outside of the game. So Blizzard wanted to control this, and looked back at the auction house they had installed in World of Warcraft. It was great in theory, but didn't work out in the end. For starters, this really took a toll on the loot drops, because the less loot the monsters dropped, the more you're inclined to use the auction house. And you could also use real money in the auction house. So it's sort of a in-app purchase. So in a game about grinding and getting better loot, it was methodically harder to get what you wanted, and it was more tempting to put in money to get that said loot. The auction house was later removed 1 year after launch. And then, in 2014, at BlizzCon, a miracle was about to happen.
17 years since Blizzard opened the door to a new adventure.
2 years later, it was time. Jeff Kaplan, you magnificent bastard, you did it. You absolutely hit the ball out of the park.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. What's up? This is Jeff from the Overwatch team, making changes that you wouldn't believe gonna take you out with a long-range beam.
One unique feature in Overwatch was its progression system. Every time you leveled up, you were rewarded with a loot box. This box contained 4 items of different value and origin, so you could deck out your characters. But you could also buy them with real money. Now, most people weren't bothered with it, and they said, don't worry, it's just cosmetics. Funnily enough, they were bothered when they had to change the victory pose for Tracer. But one critic did not take kind to this money-making scheme. Jim Sterling.
Ever since fucking Overwatch came out and I called Activision Blizzard out on its popularization of glorified gambling, that's all I ever hear. It's just cosmetic, it's just cosmetic, it's just cosmetic.
Jim argued that these loot boxes introduced unregulated gambling mechanics to video games, as well as sneaking in free-to-play economies into full-priced games. And of course he got lots of pushback, because Overwatch was a good game and was made of Blizzard, and Blizzard can do nothing wrong. But it soon became clear how big of an influence this move would be for other game developers, and it finally tipped off the edge when EA tried to do this in one of their latest Star Wars games.
We do think the way that we have implemented these kind of mechanics is actually quite ethical and quite enjoyable to people.
But back to BlizzCon again. Alright guys, it's been a while since last Diablo, and we actually improved on Diablo 3, but don't worry, we're gonna up it up again. With
Diablo Immortal. We want to use mobile devices as the platform for a new Diablo game.
Oh.
Is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this strictly mobile forever?
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Yeah, that worked out pretty much as expected, actually.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Okay, that one was new, actually. Now, before we move on, let's talk about China. As a communist regime, a lot of bad things have been said about this country, like its government-controlled censorship and breaking basic human rights. But China is also an expanding economy. They have one of the largest markets in the world, and countries in the West really want to get that cake.
Let me in! Let me in!
But to do that, they need to please their new Chinese overlords. Because if you don't comply to them, you'll get thrown out in an instant. 2019 was extremely sensitive in the wake of the Hong Kong protests. It all started with a bill that was said that Hong Kongers will be extradited to mainland China, even though they are an independent state. Any support for these protests was seen from China as not cool, and they will immediately ban you from the server.
What the fuck?
As of this moment, South Park, PewDiePie, and the Houston Rockets are banned in China. Now, what does Blizzard have to do with China? Well, their games are incredibly popular there, and they are partially owned by Tencent, one of the biggest gaming companies from China. So there's a lot of weight on their shoulders to not fuck this up.
Remember when Blizzard announced the Diablo mobile version? And everyone's like, is this a April Fool's joke? Well, from a business standpoint, no, it isn't. It makes perfect sense to get that Chinese mobile market, and that's really all they care about.
Well, as it were, the Hearthstone Grandmasters was live streamed from Taiwan, and the winner, Blitzchung, was actually from Hong Kong, and he had this to say during the post-game interview. Blizzard was in full panic mode, and they quickly suspended him for 12 months of pro gaming and took all his prize money, and also kicked the casters. Needless to say, this looked like a pro-censorship move in order to appease to China. And you know how that song and dance goes in the media. Now they have given him back the prize money and suspended him for only 6 months now, but it's still worse to support democracy than to say a racial slur on the stream. Now of course Blizzard had to respond to all this, so during that year's BlizzCon, the newly elected president J. Allen Brack apologized in front of the public.
You know, Blizzard had the opportunity to bring the world together in a tough Hearthstone esports moment about a month ago, and we did not. We moved too quickly in our decision-making, and then, to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you. And for that, I am sorry, and I accept accountability.
Bragg's apology and Blizzard's claim to not appease to China rings hollow in many ears, and Blitzchung is still suspended from pro play. But they showed a trailer of Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, so I guess all is forgiven now. Even though they won't be ready for years to come. But you know something that's almost ready? Warcraft 3 Reforged. Better graphics, better cinematics, better UI. The best strategy game of all time is getting its makeover. But when it finally came out, it appeared to be more re than forged. Let's go down the list, shall we? No remastered cutscenes. What? The UI was reverted to the old one. Models were downgraded from its first showing at BlizzCon, and not everything was loading in properly. The culling of Stratholme was not to be what it was first envisioned to be. Players had problems connecting to a game, and some even got kicked out from the campaign. Someone even lost in the prologue before it even started.
I just lost.
Plus some old bugs from classic Warcraft 3 made it in there. But you can't revert back to the old version anymore, because it's now merged with the Reforged. This in turn stripped off some features from the original, such as tournaments and custom campaigns. Oh yeah, Blizzard also had full control of custom games now. All maps made in Map Editor belongs to them, and you can't have any copyrighted material in them. Maybe it's sort of a failsafe to stop anyone from suing them, but this in turn would kill the huge modding scene that game had. But it may also be a way for Blizzard not to miss out on the next Dota 2 or League of Legends that was born in this scene, but emigrated out of Blizzard's ecosystem, and with that all that cash that Valve and Riot Games are now drowning in. You can't even create custom games on Booty Bay because it contains the word booty. And that's funny. Fans are furious and demand a refund, but most were denied. Blizzard were stubborn. In fact, they even started banning people who helped other Battle.net users on how to get a refund. In the end, there was only one option left for the users: metabomb the shit out of it. And oh boy did they metabomb it. Reforged is now sitting on a 0.5 Metacritic score, the lowest score on the whole website.
Okay.
This is what it ultimately boils down to. This is what Blizzard has become. From being the company going to beat of his own drum and releasing game at its own pace, even scrapping them if they deem them not worthy.
StarCraft Ghost, coming 2003 from Blizzard Entertainment.
They were truly the main vanguard for gamers out there. But when the old guard slowly crumbled and got replaced by Activision's puppets, I'm gonna call them puppets because that's what they are, it all turned on its head and Blizzard is no more what it used to be.
You were the chosen one! I hate you! I loved you!
Now, what did we learn from all this? Fucking nothing, that's what! Nothing we will learn from this. We keep doing the same fucking mistakes all over again. Blizzard is now shit. Bethesda shit is bad, and Ubisoft is a little piece of shit. Are we supposed to think EA is the savior just because Respawn Entertainment is carrying them on their back? Just stop pre-ordering, you dumb fucks! Fuck, I hate video games!